Alrighty everyone, welcome back. Now, as you all are very well aware, both John and Dave are working around the clock to really bring Star Wars back in action. They want to make sure that Star Wars is going to thrive and survive, and how they are really focusing on Ahsoka as the series, of course, being the home run for Disney Plus Star Wars. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, where of course everything is going right now seems to be both in positive and negative directions. We know that Kathleen Kennedy is heavily involved with Skeleton Crew and The Acolyte, and what she has planned for the future of Star Wars with those two shows really are a train wreck, let's be honest about this. Now, when you look at stuff related to the character of Luke Skywalker, this is something that, for the most part, John and Dave will be handling for the many years to come. If they can create successful stories and such, so be it. But on the other end of the spectrum, we have a lot of Lucasfilm creatives, a lot of those that are very loyal to Kathleen Kennedy, that are supporting something that I believe a lot of fans are really going to be 100% against, and that of course has a lot to do with the recast of Luke Skywalker, replacing Mark Hamill for a specific upcoming project. We're going to be going into every single detail about this, what it means, and exactly where it's all going. Now, we already know that Mark Hamill has teased this before, that he is working with John and Dave on multiple Star Wars projects to return as Luke Skywalker in ways that fans would never even imagine. But on the other end here, Kathleen Kennedy has other plans, and she has a plan to actually create her own iteration of young Luke Skywalker in this post-Return of the Jedi era that's going to either, really rattle the fan base in a negative way or cause the fans to not even tune into this show. So, with Lucasfilm getting ready to make key decisions with their upcoming Star Wars projects, one of the biggest ones that Kathleen Kennedy and some Lucasfilm creatives recently made was to keep the Luke Skywalker cameo in the Skeleton Crew series. Now, with the latest filming, however, of course, that Kathleen Kennedy recently authorized for the show, was that she has set the focus on the Luke cameo as part of some of the upcoming reshoots of Skeleton Crew that will be portrayed by a brand new actor that will be replacing Mark Hamill entirely. Now, Lucasfilm and Kennedy have no plans to use archived footage of Mark Hamill, nor does she want to use deepfake technology. Instead, she wants a full-on recast for Skeleton Crew, and the Lucasfilm creatives attached to Skeleton Crew fully support Kennedy's decision. This is Lucasfilm's plan to replace Mark Hamill for this specific project alone. The main reason why John and Dave dislike this idea is that, visually speaking, it may very well be a downgrade from what fans saw in the Book of Boba Fett and impact the continuity of what's planned for Luke's appearance in Ahsoka Season 2 and Mando Season 4. Part of Lucasfilm's plan is to replace Mark Hamill as Luke in Skeleton Crew. Also involves how Luke here will be saving the teenagers from pirates. These are said to be the similar pirates that were seen in Mando Season 3. Now, let me pause here quick for a second. Now, I know a lot of fans are gonna either love or hate the fact that Kathleen Kennedy is dragging the pirates into Skeleton Crew. In case you guys did not know, the pirates are gonna be one of the main villains in the Skeleton Crew series. So if you're not a fan of the pirates from what you saw in Mando Season 3 as being the main foes, or at least one of the main foes, I think that's another reason why a lot of fans are gonna dislike this show. Now, say what you will about Kathleen Kennedy, but one thing about her that really brings this to an all-time low is the fact that she wants to do a full-on recast for Luke Skywalker, and not using any kind of archived footage of Mark Hamill, not using any kind of voice synthesizer technology by ILM, and also on top of that, not even having, a similar scenario where, at least in Mando Season 2, John and Dave knew their boundaries to kind of keep, some kind of limitations in place. Here, the full recast, basically Kennedy wants a lot of close-up shots, she wants a lot of in-depth facial shots of Luke Skywalker where you can tell that it's a full-on recast and not CG, and this could very well take a turn for the worst if it's not done in a proper way. Now, we're not quite sure who this actor really is. It's only described as an unknown. So basically, she wants a brand new face to portray Luke Skywalker in Skeleton Crew. Now, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that this was the original plan, to have Luke make an appearance in Skeleton Crew, and how Mark Hamill in the very beginning was planned to make that cameo. Until, of course, he was kicked out, and at no surprise, restricted from that overall cameo. And now what they're doing is a full recast. Now, the fact that she wants to create her own iteration of a young Luke in post-Return of the Jedi times, it goes to show you that this could very well be her way of kind of competing against John and Dave's take on the young version of Luke. And it really makes you a little skeptical, right? As to exactly why is she really going through with this? Is it a competition? Is it some kind of way to get back at John and Dave? I have no idea. But there's something going on with this because it's so last minute. Moving on. However, the fight between Luke and the pirates is said to be brief. Around 4.5 minutes long is the plan for Mark Hamill's replacement. Kennedy already has made her decision on who will replace Hamill, and archived footage of Hamill to portray Luke in the upcoming show will be non-existent, and it's said to be an unknown actor. The aim is currently unknown at this time, but Kennedy wanted to get an unfamiliar face to play the recast of Luke. This is Kennedy's attempt to create her own version of young Luke, which many fans may come to dislike. Luke is planned to fight without his hood in this particular moment, with his face shown at all times, with no voice synthesizer tech used by ILM, meaning that the actor himself will be doing the dialogue. Now, I don't know how I feel about this. I really don't. I mean, I'm all for a recast if the character, or if the actor is going to look like the character, and if he sounds like the character spot on wise, but given that this is Kathleen Kennedy, given that this is Skeleton Crew, I have little to no confidence in this at all. I'm just going to be straight up with you guys. I have really no optimism about this series when it comes to a full-on Luke recast by Kathleen Kennedy. I'm really not looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that this does not pan out, because we already know that Disney executives are trying to put a stop to this. And so, it seems like that this could very well be Kennedy's band-aid for this series, because of how poorly it's been going through production. I don't think at the end of the day cameos are going to save anything. You can't rely on cameos to fix a series or to boost engagement levels. You really can't. You need a good story, you need good storytelling, you need great character development, and that's all that really matters. Cameos, to me, are like the icing on the cake, a little extra thing, so to speak. And that's what made Mando Season 2 so very special, right? So, anyways, I would really love to hear what you guys have to say about Skeleton Crew and Lucasfilm's plan to recast Luke Skywalker in this one show. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.